well, I mean, the thing is you're probably not going to go out and buy new tins, but you want 2 1-pound tins. And of course today we're doing elderflower and a lemon drizzle loaf cake. Right, so to prepare your tins, I use this cake release spray, slide up. You can also just use melted butter or oil. Just give it a good spray. If you have any dust in there, you can just scrape that out. Otherwise, just give your tins a little spray. And then I'm gonna put some paper in. So I know for a lot of people this is like a little bit tedious and something you don't necessarily want to be doing, but do it, because that way you get your cakes out.
There's a question, or 1 2-pound tin?
So 2 1-pound tin or 1 2-pound tin? We got it. Nice. So in general, when you fill up your tins, if you don't know the size of it, in case Sophia's out there, what you do want to do, you have to always be positive here. What you do want to do, you want to fill them halfway, so 50 to 60% up. Don't ever overfill your tins. And it's something, I mean, I do it too, like you're thinking, oh, it'll fit, it'll be fine. And you fill it all the way up, maybe 80%, and you put it in the oven, and suddenly it just goes everywhere. So just don't put more batter in your tins than 50 to 60%. Right, so to line my tins, I'm just grabbing some baking parchment. But you could also make this into like small muffin, cupcake sized cakes as well. And again, you just fill them up 60%.
Can you use this recipe and make cupcakes instead of using loaf tin?
Yes, answer is yes. Most definitely. And then you could do like a nice cream cheese frosting if you wanted that on. That could be good. Right, so paper goes into your tins. The small overhang. 1 tin ready. And second tin. Imagine if we were baking yesterday. I don't think all of you guys would have been here because it was pretty nice weather here in London at least. It's nice to be outside in the garden. Or balcony, or looking out the window. Right, so 2 tins ready, or whatever tin you have that's gonna fit our amount. Right guys, so is everyone feeling ready? If you're not quite ready, give us a thumbs down and we'll pause and we'll do a little bit of chit chat. Otherwise, we're gonna get started.
Someone wants to know where Astrid is.
I know, right? Where is Astrid? We might call her down later for when it really goes crazy. She's asking a lot about baking, but she doesn't like to bake when it doesn't involve chocolate. So, you might have to do something chocolate soon again to get her involved. Is everyone feeling good? Feeling ready to bake? Then the first thing you're gonna do is turn on your oven. So we want to do 160 fan. I'm going to pick this up. So we're doing 160 fan. If you don't have a fan oven, it's 170. And I think it's gas mark 3, but you might want to Google that because I keep forgetting gas marks.
Oh.
Yep. Thumbs down?
Too many helpers in the kitchen.
Oh.
That's Corinne.
I can't help with that, sorry. Right, so we're gonna start by melting our butter. So over in my saucepan I have my cubed butter. So whenever you're melting butter to have as little evaporation as possible, so basically more butter and liquid, you're cubing your butter because that way it's a shorter amount of time that will take to melt your butter. Right, so butter goes in unsalted and we're just gonna melt that. It's exciting. This is probably one of my favorite cakes, so I'm pretty excited about this. And that's just gonna melt away. you're using a Kitchenaid, you're going to grab your Kitchenaid bowl with your whisk attachment, or you're going to have a handheld whisk, or you're going to earn the calories and you're going to get a hand whisk out. So those are your 3 options. Just keep an eye on our butter over here, make sure it's all nice and melted. It's just water, I promise. Is everyone melting their butter? Some butter is melting. As soon as it melts, yep, thumbs up, perfect. As soon as your butter is melted, you're just going to turn off your hob. Keep it on the side. Right, so into your bowl, we're going to crack your 3 eggs. I find, and I know I said this before, but I find that when you crack eggs, it's easier to just do 1 egg at a time. Because if you are to get a piece of shell in, it's a lot easier to get it out of 1 than 3.
Can you melt with a microwave?
Yep, definitely. I just don't have a microwave, but you can definitely do that. It's probably like low setting for a few seconds, isn't it? So my 3 medium eggs goes in. If you don't have medium eggs, you can crack your probably 3 eggs still, whisk them together and then scale out 150 grams of eggs. So it's a medium egg in the UK, it weighs 50 grams, but in the US it will be a large egg. And I know that sounds a little bit anal, but when you start using a lot of eggs, that makes a bit of a difference. So we're going to use 3 medium eggs, 150 grams of eggs here. There we go. So my 3 eggs go in. And I hope everyone pre-scale everything for today because it makes it a lot easier when you bake. But the only thing I'm asking you when you pre-scale at home, don't put your sugar and your eggs together and leave it for a while because the sugar will start cooking the eggs and you get these small white hard bits in your egg, which isn't so desirable. Right, but let's just put our 3 eggs to the side for a second.
Can I use oil instead of butter?
Well, if you don't have any butter, you will have to. And let us know how it goes. Because it sounds like a lot of people had a hard time finding cream as well. So I know that a few people are using either yogurt or buttermilk. So I mean, if you can't get it, let's just use whatever you have and see what happens. Maybe you will improve in the recipe. While you have your 3 eggs over here, our dry ingredients are 140 grams of plain flour. You could also, if you don't have plain flour, you could use self-raising flour here, but don't add any more baking powder in. So if you ever have a problem with like your cake, like it bakes up nice and it looks beautiful, and then suddenly it collapses, I don't know if anyone's tried that, but that one of the reasons could be that you have too much raising agent in there. So stick to the recipe. If you have self-raising flour, don't add any more baking powder.
Can one use margarine?
Margarine? One could if one had nothing else, definitely. So this is just my salt that's going into my flour, and my 1 teaspoon of baking powder goes in with my flour as well. And then I'm just going to stir that up. Just combine it so my baking powder is dispersed into my flour. If your flour is really lumpy, you can definitely sieve it. Otherwise, you can just whisk it to get rid of the lumps and to disperse your other dry ingredients. Right. So, because this is a lemon cake, we're going to do some zesting. As Maria asked me about earlier today, how to get the zest out. I'm a little bit biased when it comes to zest. I love microplane because they only take off the yellow part of my lemon. They don't dig into the white bit. Whereas some something like this, though it's great for carrots. If I start zesting on it, I tend to get too much of the white bits off. So if you want to invest in anything in your kitchen, I would recommend it being a zester. Yes, questions?
2 questions. Why do we add salt?
To bring out the flavor, otherwise it gets a little bit bland. Most baked goods will have salt in it.
And I think so when you drain late, what have you added into the mixing bowl so far?
Just eggs.
No, okay.
So I got 3 eggs in my Kitchenaid bowl. I have my 100 grams of flour, salt and baking powder in my dry ingredients. And I have melted butter sitting on the side over here. That was the recap. Does that make sense? Into my flour, I'm going to zest my 2 lemons. So you're just going to run your zest over.
Oh, nice. So someone said they bought a microplane after you recommended it and it's life-changing.
I know, right? I mean, I know it sounds a little bit sad to go on about it, but it is so nice to have a good zester. Thank you for bringing that up so I don't sound completely crazy. Love my microplane. Of course, if you're able to buy unwaxed lemons, if you can't find them, just give them a really good wash under hot water to get the wax off. Obviously you're gonna find if you buy unwaxed lemons, they don't last as long as waxed lemons, hence why they wax them. But it's not so nice to eat the wax. I'm just gonna zest our lemons in. So basically I just tap my zester. So I'm holding it in my left hand and I run the zester over, because that way I can see where I'm going and which parts I need to attend to. And then once I've filled up my zest, I just bash it a bit on the bowl, my small bowl.
So can someone who just joined, do we need to preheat the oven now?
Yes, please. 160 fan. Second lemon. Just make sure you get all this nice lemon in. It should smell nice in your kitchens now.
Does the zest go in the flour?
Yep, zest goes in the flour. The reason I'm not adding it in with my eggs is because the zest tends to get stuck in the whisk. Then I have to scrape it down. It's a bit annoying. So just get it in with your dry ingredients. And just scrape out all the nice zest. And then again, I'm using a small fork, but just mix the zest into the dry ingredients. It's mainly so you don't bite into a big lump of zest. Just mix it in. All right. So let's just make sure that everyone is up to speed. So in my Kitchenaid bowl, or whatever medium bowl you have, if you're not using a Kitchenaid, if you're using a handheld mixer or your mussels, you're gonna have your 3 eggs. Right next to that, I got my caster sugar. Then over here, I got my dry ingredients with my zest in. And then finally over here on the side, I got my melted butter and my double cream. Is that good? Does everyone have the same as I do? You need just one more minute to get everything gathered together.
There's a bunch of thumbs up.
Thumbs up, awesome. So we're gonna start, well, I'm gonna use my Kitchenaid. If you have a Kitchenaid at home, when you start your Kitchenaid, always go at the slowest setting. You're gonna go at the slowest setting until the sugar is incorporated into the eggs. You're gonna bring the speed up. You're only gonna go to medium speed, so about 6. Don't go full whack, just 6 to 8 maybe. And then we're gonna whisk it for probably like 3 or 4 minutes. We want this to be really nice and foamy. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. If you're whisking with a handheld mixer, it's probably a little bit longer, and by hand you just need to whisk away. Yes, questions?
Is the sugar in already?
No. So the sugar isn't in until I'm ready to go. Otherwise the sugar will cook my eggs, leaving small white specks that I don't want. So even though I have everything ready, I haven't combined my egg and my sugar yet. But it sounds like we're ready to go, and I'm going to start adding my caster sugar, or granulated, into my eggs, and put on my Kitchenaid, and start as slow as setting. So obviously it's yellow now because you've got 3 yolks in there. We want it to be quite pale. So I'm going to bring the speed up. And this is speed 6 on my Kitchenaid. Away. I'm going to turn off my machine. I'm just going to show you what it looks like. I just need my camera crew to come over here for a second.
Is that about a halfway speed? Mine's not a Kitchenaid.
It's 1 down from fastest.
And is the butter in?
Nope, nope. This is just my egg and my sugar. Can you see this?
And how much sugar have you put in?
All of it. All of my sugar, all of my eggs. Marsh, can you see this? Can the camera see it?
Nope, you gotta bring it closer. Just bring it around. Yep, now you can see.
So this isn't done yet, but I just want to show you this is probably halfway through. But I need to do a scrape down. So you always need to scrape down when you're doing anything, whisking or beating, because you will see in your bowl that things splatter up on the side. And we want the sugar to dissolve, right? So we need to make sure that all the sugar is in the bowl and not sitting up on the sides. This is all of my caster sugar, and like I said, you could also use granulated. You could even use golden caster sugar. And my 3 medium eggs, 150 grams of eggs. I'm gonna keep whisking, and so are you. More volume and thicker.
And that's done as a question.
Question?
And it's done.
I'm just going to whisk for like another 30 seconds with 2 questions. Just so I don't have to yell too loud. Right, questions.
2 questions.
Yeah.
Do you need to create volume with the eggs and sugar?
Yeah.
Ribbon effect?
Exactly. I like that. Who said that?
Mimi and Elba.
Ah.
And then she also asked how many minutes with a handheld mixer.
It's probably around. Are you doing handhelds? Probably like 5 to 8.
Whoa.
Alright.
And then someone said, when are you gonna? Rachel Ministers asked when you're gonna release a book.
Oh, Rachel, I love you. I don't know. Marsha, can people see it
Yeah,
instead?
just lift it up a little bit higher. There you go. There you go.
So basically, you want to be able to draw an 8 that doesn't disappear too quickly. So it's kind of hard at that angle, but I'll
Do you want me to
show
take the camera down and show? Huh?
Yeah.
Take it down?
Yeah. Okay, I can see this. So basically, I want to dip my Whisking and then draw an 8. It's a small 8, but it's there. And this is what I want. And can you see the color is really light? Even if there's a bit of shadow. It's really light. It's probably like tripled in volume. And this is what I want. So Marina, if you're using a handheld mixer, this is the consistency I want. It's really hard to go by time when we're all using different equipment and have a different sense of speed. So it's better to know what you're looking for.
Okay, we're gonna put these back. Okay, let's see.
Right, so everyone should have their mixtures ready, but I'm just gonna give people like a couple of minutes to catch up because I don't want you to get stressed. This is a stress-free environment. In the meantime, I'm just gonna say if there's anyone live now that's been following our sourdough starter building, I am happy to inform you. I don't even know if you can see it here, but my sourdough starter is live and kicking now. Is it now day 6? So lots of nice bubbles in here. And I saw that some people have been posting their sourdough starters with lots of bubbles, which is really exciting, I think. And next Sunday, our bake along is going to be a sourdough bread. If you're thinking this is not for me, I'll do an option for you to do like a yeasted loaf instead, so everyone can join in. But basically next Sunday, we're doing sourdough bread. There's a whole plan coming out. I'm working on it. So probably tomorrow, it will be up on Instagram what you need to source. It's not a lot of things, basically just some flour, which can be hard enough these days. Right, everyone is good? Marsha, any questions?
Nope, no questions. Someone says, Sue in 2020 says,
Yeah.
but I'm 12 hours behind.
She's 12 hours behind.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. So you got this whole week to catch up. And I should say, if anyone hasn't started their sourdough starter yet, they have this whole week to do it. It's all on YouTube actually, because I'm struggling a little bit on Instagram. So on my YouTube channel, which is linked in my Instagram, you can find all the videos for every day, how to do a sourdough starter. So you can spend the next week doing that, and then you can bake along with us next Sunday. So yeah, everything will be on YouTube. Right. Give me a thumbs up if you have your egg and sugar mixture nice and fluffy, I guess. What is this? What do we call this texture? It's like a little bit like slightly whipped cream, isn't it? Give me a thumbs down if it's just still looking the same. Yeah, Marsha?
Lots of thumbs up.
That's a thumbs up. Amazing.
Ren says hi, Marshall. Thank you.
Behind every woman. Right, so if you have whisked everything and it looks delicious and big and fluffy, we're gonna get your dry ingredients in. The eagle-eyed baker will have noticed that I took my mixture off the Kitchenaid. And this I recommend doing, I do it myself as well. It's just because if you start adding dry ingredients in your Kitchenaid, we tend to let the mixer go for too long. What happens when you go for too long is that your flour is getting hydrated, it starts developing gluten, which is good in bread, it's not great in cakes, and it gives a very rubbery texture in our cake. Instead, if I fold my flour through by hand, I'm in complete control and I can stop the second I know that it's incorporated. Whereas on my Kitchenaid, I put my flour in and I start doing other things. I get mesmerized looking into my Kitchenaid. So to get a less rubbery texture in your cake, I recommend doing this by hand. Right, so you're gonna start by adding half of your dry ingredients on top of your sugar egg mixture. So I'm just drizzling half of that in, and now I'm gonna fold it through. So I'm using my right hand, and I'm just folding my dry ingredients in. So around the sides and over. Make sure you get all the way to the bottom of your mixer.
What about the butter?
Is that the same question who's asking me about the water? It's coming, I haven't forgotten about it, don't worry. Not yet, it's the last thing to go in. Flour goes in first. The rest of your flour, drizzle that on top. Drizzle / dunk. And then fold that in. Oh, it's windy outside today, huh? Right, so you don't want to have any flour streaks in there. So make sure you get all the way to the bottom around the side so there's no flour hiding out anywhere. It might look like there are a few lumps in there, but that could just be your zest. Right, so everybody should have all of the dry mixture in. So that will be your flour, your baking powder, or your salt. And again, if you're not using plain flour, you can use self-raising, leave out the baking powder. Right, so over here I have my double cream. A few of you will have yogurt or something else. Let's see what happens. I think it'll be fine. And into that, I'm gonna add my melted cooled butter. And just stir those two things together. So this is my double cream, 100 grams of double cream and 65 grams of melted butter. I'm using unsalted butter, but remember how we added salt into your dry ingredients? If you can't find unsalted butter and you're using salt, you can leave the salt out. Right, I'm gonna start again by adding half of my liquid in here. Shook. Half. Fold that in. And then get the other half in. Right, so we're just folding until everything is combined. So no streaks of liquid in here. Everything is just nice and combined.
Can we use milk instead of cream?
If you have yogurt, it's probably better. If you use milk, how many grams was it? 100? I'll probably do 70 grams of milk and then add another 30 grams of butter in, because you don't want it to be light on fat. Right, so I'm gonna put mine into 2 small tins here. And I might just, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can just put them on the scale to make sure they're the same size. So 40 and...
Claudia says, dream team, you two.
Thanks, Cloudy.
With some parts. With some parts. And someone's worried that it's all very wet.
Is it wetter than this? Can I?
Just drip it, yeah. There you go.
It should be fairly runny. This is not like a Victoria sponge texture. It's more runny than that.
Ooh, someone's asking about the Elderflower cordial.
Oh, cliffhanger. You have to stay tuned. Can't have a dropout in this video session.
Let's keep you hooked.
290 and 300. So this is nice. So Claudia is like my best friend, and maybe Claudia, how many years ago? 10 years ago, I taught her to do a lemon drizzle, and she's still doing baking that one, but maybe after today's you'll switch up the recipe a bit. Let's see. Right, so there'll be around, if you're doing 2 tins, it'll be about 300 grams in each. And everyone should have their ovens preheated. Otherwise, do it now.
Cool. So no, it's the same running. So thumbs up to
Okay.
that. Claudia says 10. It's been 10 years.
10
10 year
years.
anniversary since the introduction of the lemon
The
drizzle.
lemon drizzle.
And then Rebecca's asking, how much will it rise? How high can I go with the mixture?
Aha, Rebecca, where were you before when I said no more than 60%? So don't fill your tins more than 60%, please. Otherwise, it'll go everywhere. We don't want that. So if you're thinking, I have more than fits into my tin, still stop yourself at 60%, save your batter and bake it off in 2 batches, please. Your oven cleaner will thank me. Right, so you should have half in each of the tins and you're gonna pop them in the oven. So preheated 160. Make sure if you're doing 2 tins that you space them out so the heat can travel around, so don't like bump them up next to one another. For my case, it takes about half an hour at 160 fan. Thumbs up, Marshall says.
Someone asked him, was it 160?
Oh, 160 fan. But all our ovens are going to be different. Even if they're the same make, they're still going to bake differently, annoyingly enough. So it might be different. It'll most likely be different in your oven. So let's say you use the same size of tins as I have, and you have your ovens at 160, it might still only take 25 minutes. So 25 minutes into your bake, test it with a cake skewer, it needs to come out clean. It could also end up taking 35 minutes or 40 minutes, but just keep an eye on it and shake it every like 5 minutes once you come to half an hour bake time. If you whack everything into one big tin, we're looking at more like 40 to 50 minutes bake. Questions?
If making cupcakes, how long in the oven?
Oh, I like it. 160 minutes for about 18 to 22 minutes.
160 degrees.
160 degrees, that's my assistant. 160 minutes, that'll make them burn. 160 degrees for 18 to 22 minutes for cupcakes.
Can I use gluten-free flour?
I'm not sure because I haven't tested that, so I don't want you to go and waste all your nice ingredients and then it doesn't work out. So I would say no right now until it's been tested.
Someone's gonna have to test it.
Someone's gonna have to test it. If you test it, let us know. How about that? We can all be in this together.
So,
Right.
so a 2-pound tin in at 45 minutes?
Sounds about right to me.
And Sue in 2020 says, the mixture is yummy.
Are you eating it, Sue? Right, so far so good, guys. So this is just baking away. And whilst it's baking, just for another couple of minutes, we'll just spend together and making the glaze. So in here I got 160 grams of icing sugar.
Corinne and the kids are as well.
What are
Eating
they?
the mixture.
I love it. So this is 100, no it's not, it's 80 grams of icing sugar. You don't have to sieve icing sugar when you add liquid to it. Once I learned that, I was extremely happy because I hate sieving icing sugar because it goes everywhere. So whenever you're adding liquid, don't worry about sieving it, but if you're using it for American buttercream or anything like that, you do need to sieve it. Learned something new today? Maybe not. Right, so this is a half tablespoon measurement, and I need 4 of those because I need 2 tablespoons. And I'm gonna use elderflower cordial. You could also just use lemon juice, but whatever you have available. I think Sue's husband drank her elderflower cordial. So just get your elderflower cordial in here. And we're just going to check the consistency. What kind of consistency we have here? Right, so start by getting it everywhere and mix it up. So you want to do the glaze whilst your cakes are baking, because we're going to put this glaze on your cakes while they're still warm. That way you don't have to poke small holes into your cake. It smells nice, huh? And I think probably next weekend, if you are into that kind of thing, you can pick elderflower and start making your own cordial. Maybe just a teeny tiny bit more.
Ooh, oh, interesting. So, this is a good question. In my country, it's hard to find elderflower cordial. What can I use instead?
You know what? I did a test bake last night. For, where are you from? I should probably ask that first. Is it Gloria?
No. I'm not sure. The handle is Zarkiema. And then Mom's Table Kitchen as well has zest.
Okay. So basically last night I did a test bake for some new passion fruit cakes. And the glaze on top of those cakes were passion fruit puree with icing sugar. And they were delicious. So you could use that if you can get passion fruit. Make your own puree.
Is there passion fruit cordial?
This is what it looks like. If you were to buy it, this is passion fruit puree. Or you can make your own, just buy passion fruit and like scoop them out. So this you could use. You could use orange juice, lemon juice, lime juice, anything like that. And add that in. If you can't get it. Or whatever you like really. Like the flavor you like.
So it can be anything.
Yeah.
Any fruit.
I feel like that's pushing it a bit.
Strawberry?
Well, I guess so.
Mango?
It could be mango.
Yeah, I'm not asking these questions, it's just me.
So the consistency of your glaze should be runny, like that. That's good. Have your little pastry brush ready. So, I think this is probably about it for another 25 minutes. So cakes are in the oven, baking away for about 30 minutes if you've done 2 small cakes. Your glaze is ready to go on. I think that's it, unless you have any questions. I'm gonna log out. I'll log back on in about half an hour once my cakes are done, and I can just show you how to finish them off. I'll try and add this to highlight, but my track record isn't so great. But it'll definitely go on YouTube, because our track record is better for YouTube. But otherwise, hopefully I'll see you in half an hour once they... Oh, questions, yes?
Is there any way I can use regular sugar? Maybe try regular sugar melted over heat?
Yes, you could do that.
Cool. And then someone said okay to use lemon juice? Yeah, I think so.
Lemon juice?
And then, someone just wanted a quick recap.
Of the whole shebang? Right, here we go. Whisking eggs and sugar, folding through my dry ingredients, so my flour, salt, baking powder, and lemon zest, fold that in. Combine my melted butter and double cream, fold that in. Everything goes in a greased and lined tin, baking at 160 degrees for 30 minutes. Icing is 80 grams of icing sugar and 2 tablespoons of either elderflower cordial, lemon juice, lime juice, orange juice, mango puree, strawberry puree, passion fruit, whatever you like and have available. That goes on once the cake is out of the oven and still warm. Does that sound good, guys? No one is sending unhappy
No one's
faces.
sending either, so
All
I
right.
think it's okay. I think it's a good sign.
That's good. Silence. It's a good sign. Alright guys, I'll see you in half an hour and we'll finish off the cakes together. Thank you. Bye.